Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to read chapter 5 in our novel Just Dance. Buds. Bud and I drove for 3 days, getting to know each other. We crossed small country bridges over running streams, keeping watch over meadows, driving on some dirt roads I had never seen before. Surprises. Surprises. I was startled at the thought. I hadn't thought there would be surprises in my small town. I liked driving with Bud. He talked sometimes, telling me about the townspeople I didn't know. But he was quiet too. He looked out his window and I looked out mine. He turned up a hillside road. "I don't come up here too often," he said. "Do you ride your horse up here ever?" I shook my head. "Nope. Molly doesn't like going up hills, and she doesn't like coming down them either." "Me neither," said Bud. I looked to see if he was smiling, and he was. "Wait! Stop!" I said, sitting up straighter to look past Bud. Bud stopped and picked up his binoculars. "That's old Tinker Tibbs in his long underwear," said Bud. I opened the door and got out. "Behind him!" I yelled, running to the fence, climbing over. The sheep in the meadow scattered. "Make noise!" I yelled at Bud. An animal behind him. An animal behind him is stalking him. I ran toward tall Tinker in his long underwear. Behind me, Bud put the dome on the roof of his car and turned on his siren. The noise blasted all over us. The sheep raced after each other, trying to hide from the loud noise. I waved my arms at Tinker, but he walked on, not looking at me. As I got closer, Tinker looked over at me. Behind him, a coyote, low to the ground, turned and ran off into the woods. Bud turned off the siren and drove the car down a driveway. "Hello," said Tinker, looking thoughtful. "Do I know you?" I caught my breath. His eyes were the brightest blue. "I'm Sylvie Bloom," I said. "A coyote was right behind you." Tinker smiled a bit. "He often follows me," he said. "He pretends to stalk." He looked more closely at me. "The Sylvie Bloom who writes the log?" he asked suddenly. I nodded. "You're good," he said. We began walking toward Bud's car in the dirt driveway. There's a small cabin there and a porch with chairs. "Was that you making that noise?" Tinker asked. "Sylvie was trying to save you from that coyote," said Bud. "You mean Bernie?" asked Tinker. "I told Sylvie he often follows me. At night he sleeps on the porch. I found him as a pup." Bud nodded. "Come in," said Tinker, waving his arms as he walked up the steps. Bud waved his arm, imitating Tinker, as we walked up steps and into Tinker's house. There was a desk under a window with papers, pens, and an old typewriter. There are paintings on the wall. There's a small round dog bed next to the fireplace. Tinker saw me looking at it. "That's where Bernie sleeps in the cold of winter," he said. "In the cold of winter?" I had never heard that phrase. Bud looked at me. "Tinker's a reader," he said, as if that explained both the coyote bed and in the cold of winter. He observes life and sometimes writes about it in his journal. "Like us," I said. "Like you," said Bud and Tinker at the same time. I walked to the wall where there was a pinned up written page. Bird song ends at dusk. Sun falls down into still night. Barn owl wakes to hunt. That's a haiku, I said. It is, said Tinker happily. I knew you were good. Back in the car, Bud said, I don't think we should report anything about Tinker having a friendly coyote, or that he was wandering a bit in his underwear. I smiled. No, but I think I'll write a haiku for him in that log. Bud looked over at me. He sighed. What's a haiku? He asked. You'll see, just remember it as a 5-7-5 syllables. Bud sighed again. Okay, 5-7-5 words. Syllables. It's an ancient Japanese form, like Tinker's haiku on the wall. It is very often about nature. 5-7-5, said Bud again. You can ask Mrs. Ludolf about haiku. She knows everything, I said. I don't need her, said Bud, grinning. I've got you. We are buds. That's short for buddies. We are buds. We drove down the hill and up and down roads. We passed the school where we found 3 young boys crouched over a pile of sticks. Fire, said Bud, coming to a stop. Bud gave them a lecture, made them put out the fire before the wind spread it. Are we going to jail? Asked one boy, tears at the corner of his eyes. I don't put boys in jail, said Bud. I tell their parents. Tears fell down the boy's face. But not this time, said Bud. I'm sure you will not build fires by yourselves again. The boys nodded. Go on home now, said Bud kindly. The boys ran off, not smiling or talking. All righty then, said Bud as we got in the car. The boys are more afraid of their parents than jail, I said to Bud as we drove away. My thought exactly, says Bud. All righty then, I said. All righty then, said Bud. We passed Elmer Scarecrow Field, where the crows were back. Just like your father said Bud. Yep, my father knows all about crows. One day he's going to tell me all their secrets. When we were on the road to my house, between 2 meadows, Bud stopped the car and rode down his window. My mother was in the meadow feeding the sheep. The sun was low in the sky. The sheep had gathered around my mother. She sang Casta Diva, slow and serene, her voice coming to us with the wind. She sang that once on stage in London, I said. And she sings it for us, said Bud. I frowned at him and he caught me at it. Maybe one day you'll know why, he said. Know what? I said crossly. It's your job to find out what, said Bud. He tapped me on the arm and I couldn't be cross anymore. It was the end of our day. We saved little boys from jail and from their parents. We saw the crows were back in Elmer's cornfield. I met a reader who observed life. Sheriff Ludolf and I were buds. And I still didn't understand my mother. 3 haikus. Sheep in the meadow, blue-eyed man and a sweet friend, a good day of peace. Sylvie Bloom. Boys too young to say, Built a fire on windswept day. Sent home pondered deeds. Sylvie Bloom. Wily crowded crows back to plunder Elmer's corn. Maybe try sweet song? Sylvie Bloom.